Live from the center of the earth, Girth.
Hey Fred, how's it going?
Pretty good so far. How are you?
I'm good. We are at the OPL, the Oshawa Public Library.
Yep. FanCon.
FanCon.
Yeah.
This is I met you last year at Whitby as well.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
You kind of get around to some of the smaller cons because a lot of people just think it's like Fan Expo.
Yep.
Right. So for anybody who's kind of like wants to know what the comic book scene is like outside of even Toronto and stuff like that, how would you kind of describe it?
Well, there's a lot of big creators that are living in Durham region. You know, and the thing is, there's a lot of big creators that are living in Durham region that aren't necessarily here today. But, I mean, you got Conor McCreary out here. You got Keith Gritchow, Ricky Lima, Sean Daly, Jay Torres is downstairs. I'm here. And there's a whole long list.
You're here rocking a sweet sweater, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dave Bishop also over there, who's just got his new book, Morte, from Source Point Press, that is probably one of the most innovative zombie stories you're going to read, period.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of really good talent out here today.
So you made the move from Edmonton to Toronto.
Yeah.
And started plugging into the comic book scene here.
Yeah.
One of your collaborators is Adam Gorham.
Yeah, Adam's like more of like a friend than a collaborator. And plus our kids get along, so it makes hanging out with each other a lot easier than anything else.
Yeah. How did you meet Adam?
Adam and I met. He actually messaged the radio station because he goes, you like comics? I just wrote a comic, and he did this book. It was called The Vampire Conspiracies, and I read it, and then I got back to him like, hey, man, do you want to work on a comic with me? And then that's when we started working on Teuton, which is interesting. I've got Teuton books on the table right now because I'm a little low on stock at the moment because I got a bunch of new stuff that I've worked on, but I just have no extra books lying around right now.
And part of the new stuff is the Fourth Planet.
Yes, the Fourth Planet. Working on Volume 2 right now. Waiting for Volume 1 to come out from Chapter House. I also have a book. I just signed all the paperwork, so I'm allowed to talk about it. I've got a book that's in the process coming out with Source Point Press right now called Venom and Vengeance that I'm working on with Sean Daly. It's hard to really surmise it in a single sentence, but it is as cold and savage as a revenge story as you have ever seen.
Okay.
It's a revenge story like 30 years in the making.
Kind of Ed Brubaker-ish, kind of?
No, it's got like a fantasy vibe to it. Do you remember the cartoon The Littles?
Keep talking, that rings a bell.
They're like these little people, and they lived in the vents in your house and in your walls. Yeah, it was on in like the 80s and stuff.
Yes.
It's sort of like the
Revenge of the Littles?
Yeah, well, it's sort of like that. It's like a fantasy setting with these like littles that are called sprites, and they sort of are factioned off into these different nations that are helmed by a specific animal. And so these houses are all going to war with each other. So you've got like that. I don't know. I always, like, when you were a kid, didn't you always want to be a G.I. Joe, like the size of a G.I. Joe? So
not that size, but I want to be a Joe, though.
Yeah. Well,
until the Cobra got the Weather Dominator.
Yeah,
and then
that's true. That was a great 4-part episode. It was 4 parts, buddy. That was very bold.
You can't just drop a Weather Dominator in like a 20-minute.
No, it takes the kids aren't going to buy that.
No.
They're not going to believe that, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like that's a big story that I'm working on right now, and I've got a few other very inceptual ideas coming out. There's a story in the Cauldron anthology that Ricky Lima and Sam Noir are doing that I've got a book in there that I'm working on with Jeffrey Miles called The Wild Boy. And yeah, a few other things. I could just list what I'm doing if you wanted me to.
No, that was just a good start, though. I'll put a link at the bottom for the show notes.
Absolutely, yeah. Show note me, man.
Yeah. But it is cool that you're doing a lot of stuff because, I mean, it started off very small. Like you mentioned, like Teuton, like that was one of the earlier books, right? And so to kind of go from that to all this really cool stuff, was it kind of a difficult road? Or how would you categorize the road?
It's a demoralizing road more than a difficult road because you tell all these stories, you write it, you work on it, and then you basically like sending them off to like these editors and stuff like that at imprints trying to hope that they'll pick up your stuff. But it's that classic line, I can't get a job because I have no experience. I have no experience because I can't get a job. And so eventually that's what it feels like. And it can be tough to keep going, but that's why I've really found a home doing like a lot of smaller press stuff, which is fine for me. My original goal in comics was just to not have to pay to tell my stories. And now I'm at a point where I'm not having to pay to tell my stories anymore. Like,
high five. That's great.
High five. So, that's good. I wish that that my book with Chapter House, the Fourth Planet trade paperback, was out, because it's just gorgeous. Like working with Miko Makajik on that one has like been a treat. He's like the epitome of artiste. Yeah. So I wish that book was here to show you. But volume 2 is really good, and the story really takes a very dark, dramatic turn. So yeah,
it's got kind of like that painty look, kind of like Descender and stuff, and it's the same kind of sci-fi.
Like the soft watercolors of it all. That's the look and vibe of that story is just one of my favorite things. I wish that I had the whole series done right now, but I know where it's going. I just got to get there.
So for people who are not familiar, what is the Fourth Planet? Can you break it down a little bit? Is it more littles again in space?
No, man. I've got like...
That would be pretty cool, though.
I got to get that story broken down. Like, I got to figure out a way to summarize Venom and Vengeance in a sentence. But the Fourth Planet is humanity at this point has been conquered. We're a slave race. This ship full of human slaves crashes on this alien planet with 3 warring factions, all of which have just sort of like begun using gunpowder. And so even though there's not many humans, they're so far advanced that they're in a position of power, even though when there's not many of them. And it really throws the whole like balance of power on this planet into the wind. And it's how the humans start to like they factionalize within themselves about how some of the humans think we should just dominate. We should take over. And some of the humans are like, no, we should find a way to like not even associate with them because we don't want to affect the way they're developing as a species themselves. So
it's kind of like Prime Directive.
Yeah, it brings a lot of my favorite elements of sci-fi are always like the best thing about science fiction is it's a great way to analyze human nature without looking at humans specifically.
That was Twilight Zone, right?
Pardon?
That was like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
you can judge like communism and Americana and stuff.
That was Battlestar Galactica is always one of my absolute favorite pieces of sci-fi, and what I loved about that show was that you've got 50,000 people left. That's it. And they're not all on the same page because people are never always on the same page. And that to me was one of the best aspects of the show is that they still had all these disagreements, even though they were struggling to just stay alive.
You know this too from your work, your day job as a radio broadcaster. Even like a band like U2 or Green Day or Red Hot Chili Peppers, people will go and they'll sell out 20, 30,000. But there's always a couple of people who want to hear that one song.
Yes,
or like,
that's a perfect analogy.
Right?
That's
but
right
everybody
there.
likes the Chili Peppers. But they want I can't believe they played that.
We all want to survive. We've all just got different ideas on how to get there. Yeah.
And in terms of your, like, you do a lot of really cool indie work. Some writers like to do a lot of indie work and then jump into, like, the big 2 or the big 3, I guess.
Oh, well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to work for the big 2. Like, if I got
2.5, I guess, with Image, right?
Yeah, 2.5. I've got a book in with Image right now. Hopefully that works out. But, I'd like to work with Marvel and DC, and I've got properties that I'd love to do, but I'm not there, and the time will come when I'll be there, but I'm not in a rush to like scoop past what I'm doing now to get there right away, you know? I'm really liking doing a lot of like the indie stuff because I've got like one story that's in a post-apocalyptia with magic type story. I've got another one that is straight up like sword and sorcery. I've got another one that's fantasy. I've got one that's historical. I've got one that's set today and it's just a human drama. There's all these things that are going on, you know?
When you're sitting down to then put something on a page and then develop it into a comic like Fourth Planet, are you having to choose from different ideas and stuff like that, or is it kind of like that's the best project that will like get you out? And like, is there certain goals of the project?
What's the itch that I got to scratch? That seems to be the way that I always go with these things. Like, what's the thing that I want to work on now that will make me happy? But now that I'm working on projects where I'm collaborating with other people and there's money involved. Now I'm at the point where what's my deadline? When do I got to get this done? So I will work like, hammer out like 20 pages on this one, polish it off. 20 pages on this one, polish it off. Then back to the drawing board, always trying to work on a few different things at the same time, you know? Because you get bored. Like with the Fourth Planet, I wrote the whole thing, all 3 trade paperbacks in a row. So for about 3 months, like I was buried in just that one thing, you know?
And because you're doing a lot of independent comics, the reason I bring up the big 2.5 is that because you're working on a lot of independent comics, is it kind of a harder thing to flesh it out? Because you're talking about characters that don't exist, right?
Yeah.
If you just say like Superman flies or Batman crashes the gate, like, you know what I mean? Like people already have a visual.
Well, you got to create the story and create the characters. Yeah. I think that a lot of times the world building is the funnest part of the story, you know? Like putting it all together, ironing it all out. That's the funnest thing to do. So yeah, it takes longer, but it's not harder. Like there's part of me thinks that if I was working on like this actually happened to my buddy Adam Gorham when he was working on Exo Manowar at Valiant. He drew a scene where he needed to speed the story up, and like the script wasn't really providing him with the right information, so he inadvertently created a power for Exo Manowar when he did it. And then when he handed the pages in, his editor was like, he can't do that. He was like, oh, okay. So back to the drawing board, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should give Adam a shout out. He also just, the trade paperback from New Mutants.
Yes, just came out.
Yeah.
Great book. Mm-hmm. That, like...
New Mutants Dead Souls.
Pardon?
New Mutants Dead Souls.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of New Mutants trades.
New Mutants Dead Souls, yes, with Matthew Rosenberg.
Yeah.
He's just a phenomenal writer. And I was pretty, like, envious of Adam getting to work with the people that he worked with on that. Like, Mike Garland did the colors on that book, and Mike Garland's colors are just fantastic. Mm-hmm. And it's a really unique take on the New Mutants, making it kind of like a horror story, you know, to coincide with the movie that was coming out. I don't know if that movie's ever even going to get released now, though.
Yeah, now it's lost in that whole like Fox Disney thing. And
isn't the girl who plays Arya on Game of Thrones, isn't she in it? She's in the movie?
Yeah, they have real names and things like that, and the trailer looked good.
Yeah.
But then there's that butt, though. Where like,
there's that butt.
Yeah, because I think
if CB Cebulski's a big fan of that.
Yeah, I know. And I mean that's the other thing too. So are you excited then to see like all those Marvel movies and all the TV shows and all that stuff? Because now it's like your kids growing up now, they have a heyday. We just had the Weather Dominator on Cobra for 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
On G.I. Joe.
4 episodes.
So now they get like a whole potpourri of like stuff.
I think it's great. Like to be honest, like I was pretty let down with a lot of the Netflix Marvel stuff. I really liked the second season of Daredevil. I think the second season of Daredevil is the strongest thing that they'd ever done. Mm-hmm. The most disappointing was the first season of Iron Fist.
Yeah,
like everybody, that was the show that I was hoping would be the best, but it was the weakest, and it was the weakest for a lot of factors. With the main character's actor there, what's his face, like finishing Game of Thrones one day, flying to New York and starting filming the next one. He's supposed to be like this martial artist on par with Captain America, and nope. But and like Jessica Jones is pretty consistent. David Tennant was great in that show.
The problem too with Iron Fist is it has a lot of on-street elements too, like the mystical cities and things like that. So it's hard to kind of go to like Tibet or wherever and then kind of like bring it back to New York City. You know what I mean? And I don't think they got that balance right.
No. I would be inclined to agree. The movies are great too. Like there's just a lot going on right now. So, you know, I think it's pretty wild that I can't wait for my kids to be a bit older and we can sit down and like dissect all these things. They're really into the Clone Wars and Rebels right now, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, Star Wars always works. For kids, man. Yeah,
that's such a great show. Like, I would love to see like a live action Star Wars show that just kind of follows some stormtroopers, like a band of brothers for stormtroopers almost, you know? Because you think about it, like the Empire couldn't have been bad for everybody. It couldn't have been. Like, and
that should be their slogan. Yeah, it's not bad for everybody.
Well, exactly. And like, I'm not saying that the Empire was great. What I'm saying is if it was that awful for everyone involved, no one would have let it last as long as it did. Mm-hmm. So there was probably a lot of planets where being part of the Imperial Army was a great thing. You know, it had to really help them out. And so you could have you could follow these like this platoon of stormtroopers while they're in some sector of space, like on some planet, like kind of like Battle of the Bulge-esque, while they're fighting, and take that side, you know, like what was it? Tora, the World War II movie where they follow both the Japanese and the Americans. And
the Clint Eastwood movie.
No. That's Letters from Iwo Jima. And not Band of Brothers and Flags of Our Fathers. Like the same idea though, to show that like we're all human in the end, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't like. It's best not to. What's Jean-Luc Picard? There Are Four Lights episode when he was talking about how you should never dehumanize your enemy because eventually you're teaching them to dehumanize themselves or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would be pretty dope. Let's work on that. If you know anybody at Disney, give them a call.
We will wrap this up now, so I'll make some calls. Where can people find you? You are on the air at Q now.
Q107, yeah. Monday to Friday, 2 to 7. Also, my Facebook feed, Ted Fargus, and there's my Twitter feed at fearless_Fred. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I really do love the Twitter because I don't like writing that much unless I'm writing comics, which I spend too much time doing.
You recently had a Twitter poll / Twitter debate whether a lightsaber could decapitate the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And I think the verdict was yes, right?
The verdict was yes.
Is that where you stand? Is that your deep interpersonal feelings?
I don't know because no one really justified it. Like, I think that, first of all, I believe that like somebody, a skilled Jedi like a Darth Vader could take the Hulk's head, but would that kill him? That's another conversation entirely. Mm-hmm. But can the Hulk's flesh be penetrated by a lightsaber? And then somebody brought up the scene in The Phantom Menace where Qui-Gon Jinn is like melting through the blast doors with his lightsaber, you know? Like, is that what would be the equivalent of? Would you be able to stab, but to cut through would be something different entirely? I don't know.
It is a fascinating debate. By the way, as a small tangent before we wrap up, the latest Hulk book, Immortal Hulk, is fantastic.
Yes. Really?
Yeah.
What makes it so good?
They're writing it like the old school horror book. So he changes at night, and it's kind of more werewolfy, kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot more creepy, and it's still very tied to the Marvel Universe, but it's a lot more creepy and good fun. So it's perfect for Halloween.
I really like that concept of Weapon H. I thought that was the most ridiculous comic book concept. Like, it's like they went to like 14-year-old like Fred and were like, "What do you want to do?" Like, listen, I got a great idea, guys. Combine Wolverine and the Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah, make that happen. Okay, good, perfect. That's what we're doing. Weapon H.
It's always funny some of the things that like get past like the editorial meeting.
Yeah.
The editor says write it, like, and then so the guy writes it, somebody draws it, like, because comics is such a collaborative thing. It's like 10, 20 people. It went through this 10, 20 people system.
I think Valentin Delandro just did a cover for Weapon H. And I remember when I was asking him about it, and he was just like, it was one of the coolest things ever. It's something that I've always wanted to imagine. Yeah, that guy's an amazing talent. It's a shame he's not here today.
Mm-hmm.
He's off being professional and being a dad.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll leave you to be professional. Hold down the table. You got the good sweater. You got the comics out on the table.
That's right.
So thank you, Fred, for taking a few minutes and just hanging out.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. My name is Sammy. You can follow me on the Twitter at My Pal Sammy. This has been my Summer Lair.